Well, hello everyone and welcome back to Vickie's Country Home. Tonight I'm going to make a new recipe, and this is green chili chicken smothered burritos. And I found the recipe from valerieskitchen.com, but I'm going to change it up some too because that's what I always do. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to make this with Thrive Life. The recipe calls for rotisserie chicken, but I'm going to use the Thrive Life freeze-dried seasoned chicken slices. I figured that's pretty close. I could also use my home canned chicken, but it called for rotisserie, so that's already seasoned. So I'm going to use this and see how it comes out. So I've got 3 cups of this in this container, and instead of using water like it calls for, I'm going to use my home canned chicken stock, and I've warmed that up, and there's 3/4 of a cup of that, and I'm just going to put that in there. And I'm going to put a lid on it so that I can kind of mix it up well and make sure all of it gets some of the chicken stock. Now, if it still seems dry, then I'm going to add a little more liquid. But I'm going to start with this and just put it in there and give it a chance to refresh while I get the rest of this made. So let me take you over and show you what I'm doing. Alright, I've got a medium pan, and I'm going to set the heat to low. And I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons of oil, and I'm using olive oil. And I'm just going to let that heat up for a minute. Okay, and now I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of flour, and I'm going to whisk that in. That whisk just isn't going to do it. Okay, now we can use this one. And what we want to do is let the flour brown a little bit. We're kind of making a roux. We don't want raw flour. I'm going to add just a little more oil. Just want to cook that for a couple minutes just to get the raw taste of the flour. And then I have 1 cup of my home canned chicken stock that I'm going to add to this. And you really want to get it well incorporated. So add a little bit at a time. Okay, now we're going to add 1 can of green chili enchilada sauce. And this is, I think, 28 ounces. Let me see. Yeah, 28-ounce can. And what we're making here is, it's like a gravy. We're making the sauce that's going to smother the burritos. And no, this is not Tex-Mex. It's probably more Southwest style. But we like that too. It's just Tex-Mex is home. Okay, we'll get that combined. And then I'm going to add some ground cumin, and we're going to add about a teaspoon of that. And I'm just using the ground this time. Maybe a heaping teaspoon, because I love cumin. And just a little bit of salt, and I'm using pink sea salt. And we're going to add fresh ground black pepper to taste. And I'm going to probably put in about half a teaspoon to start. And just get that well combined. Okay, once you've got this all incorporated, we're going to move the heat to medium-high. And on my burners, that's a little bit over medium. Now we're going to bring this to a boil, and then we're going to lower the heat and just keep it warm until we're ready to assemble these. Okay, we're just coming up to a simmer. And you can see it's thickened up nicely, which is what we want. We want it like a gravy. Okay, I'm just going to turn this down to very low heat, and I'm going to keep it warm until we're ready to assemble these. Okay, now we're ready for the next step. I did add more hot water to this chicken, and I added a little bit extra so it would evenly rehydrate. But then I drained off the water that was left. So I'm just going to get all of that chicken in there. Then I'm going to add a half cup of sour cream. And I'm using a 7-ounce can of Hatch green chilies. These are a little bit warmer, I think, than normal green chilies. And this is the mild, but the Hatch just has such a good flavor. And I'm going to add 1 cup of shredded Monterey Jack cheese. Now I'm just going to mix that up a little bit. You want to make sure you mix it pretty well, because this is going to be the filling in the burritos, and you don't want spots that don't have all the flavors. So I think that looks good. Now we're going to assemble these. Before we assemble these, I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper. Forgot that part. and mix that up. So I have flour tortillas that I've slightly warmed in the microwave. This calls for the big burrito size 10-inch. I never buy those, they're too thin and I don't care for that. So I'm going to use what I have, which is these small ones, which of course will be made smaller. So I'm just going to put a nice scoop in there and roll it up and put it in the pan. So I'm going to get these all rolled up and I'll bring you back to show you when I'm finished. Well, I have all of the burritos rolled up. The recipe calls for the 10-inch burrito tortillas and it says it'll make 6. So this made 10 of the smaller size and they're all filled really nicely. Now we're just going to put this sauce all over the top. And I can't wait to try these. I love good smothered burritos. So I'm going to get all this sauce put on. I'm going to cover this with foil. And then I'm going to put it in the oven at 350 degrees for about 20 minutes. We want to get these nice and hot and softened. So I will bring you back when I pull these out of the oven. Alright, so I took this out of the oven. It's been 20 minutes. And these are nice and soft. And now I'm going to add just a little bit of cheese. About 2 cups, whatever it works out to. We're going to cover the top of this. You can use a mixture of cheese, but I'm just using the Monterey Jack. Okay, and you can put some sliced green onions on top or whatever you want to garnish it with. But you know what? These are the Thrive Life freeze-dried sliced onions. And I love to just sit and eat these. They are so sweet. They're crunchy. And I just think that that will make a nice topping. So I'm just going to put some over the top. That looks good. Now I'm going to put this back in the oven and I'm going to bake it until the cheese is melted and the edges are kind of bubbly. So I'll bring you back when it's out of the oven. Alright, I just took this out of the oven and it smells wonderful. And it got nice and bubbly around the edges, the cheese is melted, and these little pieces of freeze-dried onions got nice and crispy, so can't wait to try it. Now if I can get this out without making a huge mess, it'll be wonderful. Let me get this out of the way and I'll take a taste. Alright, let's have a taste of this. Oh, this is really good. And it's just a little bit spicy, but not too much. But knowing Brian, I bought this in Texas, and it is Hatch green chilies, and I'm sure this is going to be nice and spicy for him. We'll stick to a little bit milder stuff. But I love this recipe, and I will do this again. So thank you for watching Vickie's Country Home, and we'll talk again soon.